Hi, everyone, and welcome to our mental health booster with the FHE executive. Today with us, we have Mrs. Vania Patrick Drakes, and she will be basically chairing or carrying on our conversation for today on mental health. Before we get into everything, I invite our modern language representative, Ms. Vanessa Boyce, to give us a very brief bio on Mrs. Patrick Drakes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jill Alexander. Mrs. Vania Patrick Drakes is a registered psychologist in Barbados and has spent the past few years working with adolescents and families in the mental health field. She currently lives and works in North America in the child welfare sector, advocating for equitable outcomes for children and youth in care. Vania is passionate about normalizing conversations surrounding mental health so that the stigma surrounding this topic is erased. I welcome Mrs. Vania Patrick Drakes.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you everyone for having me. Just give me a moment while I share my screen. Okay, perfect. And I might disappear from video just for a moment, but I'll come back. Yes. So I'm going to try to set some context first. I do not want to assume, but I will assume for just a second that back in 2019, and if you cast your mind back to 2019, when you thought about 2020 or 2021 or even 2022, you probably did not imagine that it would be going quite like this, right? So you knew you would have the regular life pressures. So maybe you were going through CSEC exams, maybe you had CAPE exams, or you were studying for your associate degree. You might have had family issues, friend issues, relationship issues, social media drama, maybe job issues and money issues, the standard stressors, right? But then in late 2019, we heard talk about a coronavirus somewhere distant in China, right? But perhaps it still felt kind of removed from our situation, from our context. Next thing you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? People are losing their jobs. People are getting sick. We got locked into our houses, literally, placed under curfew. Things were getting tense, almost unreal. And then we heard about a volcano eruption, which shook the Caribbean up again, right? Ash, house damage, potential lung damage, more stress. And I'm not even going to get started on this recent thing with Russia and Ukraine. So we're to the point now where so many people are desperately trying to disassociate, to distract themselves, to numb themselves, maybe with food, with Netflix, YouTube, with FETs, TikTok, Bajan Twitter, right? Caribbean Twitter, literally anything, so as not to take on too much of what is going on, right? And yet we're expected to function as normal, right? We're expected to go on as if nothing is happening. So, and I hope you can see me. So I have, if we imagine ourselves almost like this cup, okay? And we're pouring all of these stressors. So we have the regular relationship stressors, our life or family, right? Health stressors, money stressors, exam stressors. And then you add things like grief. In our situation, perhaps loss. And I've heard there's been a loss in the faculty recently, and I'm so sorry to hear that. What happens if I keep pouring and pouring and pouring, and I'm not giving any sort of opportunity for some sort of valve, a release valve? If you see my cup right now, it's overflowing, right? We are not infinite in terms of our capacity. We do have to take care of ourselves with when there are stressors happening, right? We have to make sure that we are constantly looking out for the capacity, the fullness of our cups, so that we are able to do something about it if our cups are overflowing, right? When issues are piling on and there's no pressure valve, no outlet, we find ourselves in this sort of situation, okay? There will be overflow. There are limits to us. So I want to briefly touch on 3 tips that perhaps you can use moving forward, especially with the exam period coming up. The first thing I want you to keep in mind is the importance of being able to acknowledge and validate how you're feeling, right? So we tend to rank emotions and assign negativity to some emotions over others. So we might say, okay, well, yeah, I'm not allowed to be angry. I'm not allowed to be hurt. I'm not allowed to be embarrassed. It may say, oh, bad man don't shed tears, right? Bad man can be any gender in this situation, men, women, anybody, right? And speaking of gender, we even tend to assign emotions to certain gender identities, right? I'm going to turn back on my camera right now because this is just right now a white plain screen, right? Well, so women are allowed to feel hurt, right? Women are allowed to have hurt feelings, but then when it comes to guys, oh, guys aren't allowed to feel hurt, or guys aren't allowed to feel embarrassed, right? Which is, of course, is a fallacy. We're all humans, we have that range, right? And we find that sometimes these things are imbued from childhood, right? From the time we're small, we're told, oh, you know, why are you crying? I will give you something to cry for, right? Especially, again, when it comes to young boys and young men. So by the time we are approaching adulthood, we've learned how to kind of stifle our emotions, to stifle our feelings, to pretend that everything is okay, I can just brush things off and I am fine, okay? So my first point then is for us to be able to acknowledge when we are feeling not okay, and to be able to validate this and to be able to normalize speaking about our emotions, right? Somebody has to normalize the expression of feelings. And if it is not going to be the older people from the older generation, then really it is up to you as younger people, knowing and understanding the relevance and the importance and the significance of mental health to really step up and make a change in that way, right? So be unashamed to say things like, yeah, I felt a little embarrassed, or I feel a little bit hurt, or I'm feeling sad today, right? Or I'm feeling angry today. I'm feeling anxious about the exams coming up, right? All emotions are valid and all emotions are healthy. We have range. We are supposed to feel that range of emotions: excitement, longing, anger, right? Contrary to popular belief, anger is not a bad thing, right? Anger is healthy. Sadness is a regular human emotion. If we didn't feel any of these things, and if you're a psychology major watching this, right, you can speak to people who are watching along with you about psychopathy, right? It is normal to feel emotions. So that's the first thing I want us to focus on, right? Not doing ourselves a disservice by not acknowledging and normalizing and validating our emotions. The second thing I want us to focus on, right, after we've acknowledged how we're feeling in times of stress, like now, which again, during exam period, we want to make sure that we take time to process, right, and to work through whatever it is that we are feeling, okay? So in situations of loss, for example, it is normal to feel shocked, right? It is normal to feel perhaps anger. It is normal for some to feel guilty or to go down the path of, you know, what if, or should I have, or whatever else. It's normal to feel numb. In terms of the guilt, and I want to focus on this for just one quick second. These are mistaken feelings, right? Because there are so many things that are out of our control. And I want to pull our attention very quickly to this circle of control that I kind of did up. So normally we talk about circles of concern, circles of control, and circles of influence. But in the interest of time today, I took out the circle of influence. Look at the circle of control. So things that we are able to control, we can control our actions, we can control what we're saying, we can control our behavior. I might feel a sort of way about it, but I cannot control if someone is being rude. I can't control the weather. I can't control exam dates, no matter how prepared or unprepared I am. I don't have any control over that. I don't have any control over the price of tenders, right? It might go up by $1. I can't control that. If I want them, I'm going to have to buy them, right? And most importantly, I cannot control other people's actions. So no matter how badly I'm feeling about perhaps what someone has said to me, or perhaps what someone has done, it is important that I not feel guilt for someone else's actions, right? I can feel empathy and I can feel sadness and I can grieve, right? But it's important to focus on what we can control, which we're going to talk about very shortly, right? In terms of making sure that we are there for ourselves, advocating for ourselves, and also advocating for other people. So that's food for thought, right? So processing feelings. So feelings of loss and of grief, for example, can be processed exactly like this situation today, right? So perhaps in gestures, in tributes, right? Talking about your situation, talking about feelings with others who feel similarly can be very helpful. We've gotten into this thing now where we don't, I don't tell anybody anything because, I don't trust anybody, right? We need to nurture our relationships in a way that we are surrounded by people that we can trust, right? And I'm even going off script a little bit now. So if you notice that you have a friend circle and your friend circle constantly makes you feel badly about yourself, or they're always brushing aside your emotions, right? Or they're belittling you, maybe it might be an opportunity to re-examine those people who are in your circle, even if these are people that have been in your circle for a long time, okay? Because as we get older, we want to make sure that two things. One, that we are positive for those people in our circle. So we are a source of positivity. And we want to also make sure that we are surrounded by positivity. So I don't think that's being selfish. I think that that's being nurturing. And that's something that is important as we move through life. Because so many things go on. We talked about COVID already. We talked about this Russia-Ukraine thing, the whole volcanic ash, all of these different things are going on in our life that can potentially pull us down, right? So if we can control the people that we surround ourselves with, right? And we can make sure that our circle is one that is a positive one. And if we find one that is not, we politely break ties if you need to, and build your circle so that it is something that is nurturing for you. I think that's really, really important, right? So talking to others, doing intentional things to perhaps honor a loved one's memory, if in a case of grief or loss, right? Taking moments to cry. Some of my best and worst moments have been just crying in the shower, right? Just letting the water wash over you. You're crying. It's almost like an act of release, of emotional release, right? There's something therapeutic about releasing that pain, right? Take stock of what you're feeling so that you can process and so that healing can begin, right? And then what if you're feeling exam anxiety, right? So perhaps planning is in order. Have a plan, right? You might have 4 exams, 3 exams, 5 exams, freaking out over all the exams because, oh, I don't have the slides, I don't have the notes, I was sleeping, I didn't get to log on. We need to have a plan, right? So you'll need a study timetable, possibly if you don't have one. So if I have 4 courses, I know I want to study for X course at this time, this course at that time, and so on. We want to schedule time for rest as well, because we're not machines, right? Working from midnight straight through to nighttime the next day. I mean, it is not necessarily healthy, right? You would end up suffering either mentally, physically, in whatever way. So we want to make sure that we're also scheduling time for rest. For our studying, we want to know, okay, am I able to study by myself? If I don't have the notes, right, what is the point of me studying? What am I studying from? So perhaps it might then mean I'm reaching out to somebody else. I'm reaching out to a peer who may have the notes, or I'm reaching out to a tutor, like a TA, or to my lecturer during office hours, right? All of these are appropriate avenues for seeking assistance as I plan my study timetable. So if I know, okay, I've been really stressed out this semester, things have been wild, I really just looking for passes this semester. Well, that's my goal. So I set my goal and then I make sure that I strategize how exactly I'm going to be reaching my goal, right? If you are having challenges, right, with anxiety and so on, then that leads me to my point number 3, and that's to make use of the available resources. Now, I haven't been on campus in a minute, right? But let's say I was speaking to an external client and they were feeling stressed out or they're feeling overwhelmed. I might say, okay, well, perhaps you might try making use of external resources. Try signing up for a gym, for example, to move your body. Try talking to someone, right? Now, these are all things that as UE students, you have available for you already. Once you're paying your admin fees, your guild fees, you have access. I don't know if the gym is open, so maybe you should have access to the gym, right? Once it's open. I'm not sure about COVID protocols. You definitely have access to mental health services and to health services, right? So, and I don't want to say these are free, but if you're paying for guild fees, they're technically free, right? So please make use of the available resources. When I was at university, did I make use of my counselor at university? Absolutely. This is a chance for me to sit down and talk to somebody that I don't know. They don't know me, right? They're supposed to be keeping everything private and confidential. They're not supposed to be judging me, and I can tell them all about my life and then get up and don't pay. Yes, I'm going to go, right? So I encourage you to also make use of any resources that you feel would be necessary and relevant for you. So that might, again, that could be the mental health services, going to lecturers in their office hours, because again, that's part of why they are there, right? So we want to make use of that. If you feel like if what you may need is because sometimes people do need breaks from school, and that can be legitimate. And that's also something that can be available to you if you're feeling completely overwhelmed for whatever personal reasons, right? You have to know for yourself, you have to weigh the pros and the cons of your decisions for yourself, but know that you have options. So you have academic advisors and so on that can help you explore your options. So don't be afraid to reach out to people who can be a source of advice and guidance for you, right? Yes, so check around, see what is available for you, and make sure you invest in yourself, invest in your healing, your mental health, your physical health, invest in your success, invest in your well-being. And I wish you all much success in your upcoming exams, and I wish you comfort and peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Patrick Drakes, for all your advice. And it was very, very, very timely, especially with everything that's been going on. Obviously, we have not only do we have, the pandemic was ash, you also have, Zoom fatigue, which was pretty very, evident throughout this entire academic year. And I know that students are looking forward to, getting back to a place of normalcy. And yeah, thank you. I was listening to you and I'm like, wow, she preaching though. So yes, thank you so very much. Thank you for your time. And we truly, truly appreciate the efforts that you have made to be here. So guys, we hope that you enjoyed our little, mental health booster, and we wish everyone all the best in their exams. Good luck. Bye.